Welcome to this deep dive. We've been digging through, well, everything we could find on one film. Sinners. The 2025 release, Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, and it's not just, another movie hitting screens. Feels bigger somehow, like a cultural moment.
Totally. We've got critical analyses, box office reports, plot details, all of it.
Exactly. And our mission really is to unpack why. Why has Sinners kicked up so much dust? You've got these glowing reviews, huge box office numbers.
And even early Oscar talk, which, for a horror movie released in the spring, that's pretty unusual.
It really is. So let's get into the story itself.
Okay, the core premise. It centers on twin brothers, Smoke and Stack, both played by Michael B. Jordan, which is interesting in itself.
Right. And it's 1932. They're heading back to their hometown in the Mississippi Delta. Probably Clarksdale, seems like.
And the plan is to open a juke joint, leave the past behind them, build something new.
That's the hope. A new start centered around music and community. But that hope runs headfirst into trouble.
Right, the conflict.
Yeah, a big one. Vampires, led by this figure, Remick. And Coogler actually mentioned Death from Puss in Boots, The Last Wish, as a sort of inspiration for that character's vibe.
It's fascinating. Okay, so vampires, classic horror stuff. But then Coogler's adds this whole other layer, doesn't he?
He absolutely does. The real-world horror of the Jim Crow South. You've got the Ku Klux Klan, led by a guy named Hogwood.
And that character, played by Jack O'Connell, described as just viciously racist.
Exactly. And they're also targeting the juke joint. So it's this collision, this double threat. Supernatural evil meets historical systemic evil.
Wow. So it's blending a lot.
Oh, yeah. It's deliberately mixing genres. You've got the 1930s period drama, supernatural horror, action, thriller elements.
And music, obviously, with the juke joint. Blues music is central. The tagline is Dance with the Devil, right?
Right, which kind of captures that whole blend. And that setting, the 1930s South, filmed in New Orleans, I should add.
Yeah, I heard that.
Not just wallpaper. It's this oppressive atmosphere, the systemic racism. It's baked into the story.
So the film puts the vampires right alongside the KKK.
Intentionally. It furthers this juxtaposition. Critics are saying it invites this allegorical reading. Like maybe the black characters actually have a better shot against literal monsters than against the system.
So it asks that question, which is the real monster, the greater evil?
Exactly, which is pretty powerful.
And for Ryan Coogler, this feels significant. It's his first original script he's directed since Fruitvale Station way back in 2013.
Yeah, after the massive success of Creed or Black Panther, there was definitely a feeling, a lot of anticipation about him getting, full creative control on something original again.
People talk about him as this quietly seismic force in the industry.
They do.
Yeah.
And it's because he manages to weave these really personal, culturally specific stories with big political resonance, but also make them commercially successful. He really centers Black life and culture in a nuanced way.
I've even heard comparisons to Christopher Nolan within the Black film community, like a quiet revolutionary.
That comparison gets made, yeah. Someone delivering both art and blockbusters.
Mm-hmm.
And for Sinners, he brought back his key team.
His usual collaborators. That always signals a certain level of craft.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And they shot using IMAX film cameras.
Which screams visual ambition, right? Bigger picture, more detail for us watching.
Absolutely. And the cinematography by Autumn Durald Arkapaw is getting heaps of praise. Stunningly photographed, exquisite, exceptional. People talk about the use of deep shadows, bold framing.
Creates that mood.
Precisely. And then you add Oscar winners like Hannah Beachler on production design, Michael P. Shaver editing, Ruth E. Carter doing costumes.
Wow.
And Ludwig Göransson on the score, which everyone seems to agree is fantastic, stirring. It's a powerhouse crew.
Okay, but Coogler doing horror, that's a bit of a turn. And horror doesn't always get Academy love, historically. How are critics finding his approach to the genre itself?
Well, the reviews are overwhelmingly positive, let's be clear. But some critics did sort of note that maybe he's not quite a full-on master of horror yet, in that classic sense. A few felt the tone shifts weren't always perfectly smooth.
Okay. A bit uneven sometimes.
Potentially for some. But that's balanced by huge praise for his direction overall, calling it muscular, smart, poetic. It feels different, they say, from his previous work, and from Jordan's too.
So Coogler's name, his track record, must have given this project a lot of weight from the start. Got Warner Bros. Interested, fueled that early buzz.
No question. Creed, Black Panther, that buys you a lot of industry capital. And this genre blending, this ambitious fusion, that became a real talking point.
Mostly positive?
Widely praised, yeah. for the energy, the originality. Electric fusion is a phrase I saw used.
Ah.
But, some minor critiques popped up about pacing, maybe integrating all the elements perfectly smoothly. Tiny quibbles, really.
But the overall score suggests he pulled it off.
Overwhelmingly, yes. The numbers are really strong.
Okay, let's talk performances. Michael B. Jordan in 2 roles. Smoke and stack. That's got to be demanding. Their 5th time working together, isn't it?
It is. And,
Yeah.
everyone seems to agree his dual performance just anchors the whole thing. Emotionally, narratively, he carries it.
But the supporting cast is getting attention, too.
Definitely. Haley Steinfeld, Delroy Lindo. Apparently, he has this incredibly powerful monologue.
Oh, I heard about that.
Jack O'Connell as the main racist villain. Wunmi Mosaku is getting standout mentions. Jamie Lawson, Omar Benson Miller. Sounds like a really solid ensemble.
And there's this newcomer, Miles Caton, playing Sammy, the young blues musician. Seems like he's making a real splash.
Huge splash. People are calling him a real star, one to watch. Like, genuinely surprised it's his debut.
Yeah.
Holding his own against these heavy hitters.
Oh.
And it sounds like his performance, especially through the music, is key to the film's heart, its themes. It just underlines Coogler's reputation, as an actor's director.
Yeah.
Gets great work out of people.
So the critical reaction sounds like a slam dunk. What are the numbers telling us? Rotten Tomatoes? Metacritic?
Yeah, pretty much a slam dunk. Rotten Tomatoes started near perfect, like 99%,
Yeah.
with a really high average rating. It settled slightly, but still incredibly high. Coogler's best rated, actually.
Wow.
Metacritic score is 84. That's universal acclaim. It's being called one of the best horror films of the year, one of the best films, period.
And audiences, beyond the critics.
They seem to love it, too. IMDb rating is strong, like 8.1, 8.2. It was the first 2025 movie to hit their top 250 list.
That's impressive.
And get this, an A cinema score on opening night, which is really rare for horror. Usually they get Bs, maybe a B plus A is huge.
So across the board, people are praising Coogler's direction, Jordan's performance.
The ensemble, especially Caton, the look of it, cinematography, the score, how it mixes the genres, the themes, the music, the emotional punch, lots of strong words. Masterclass, bloody brilliant.
Any recurring criticisms, even minor ones, in those glowing reviews?
Small things. Some mentioned pacing, maybe a slow burn start, then a slightly rushed ending for them. A few felt some themes could have been dug into even deeper.
Okay.
Or maybe the pure horror elements didn't fully satisfy everyone. And that genre mix, while mostly praised, a few critics called it a bit sloppy at times, but often like in a fun, energetic way.
Even that one rotten review you mentioned.
Yeah, the single one that brought it down from 99%, criticized the pacing, I think, but still admitted the ending was powerful. So, yeah, minor stuff in a sea of praise. The admiration is really deep.
Okay, critics loved it. Audiences seemed to love it. Did the money follow? How did it do at the box office?
Oh, it followed. Big time.
Oh.
Sinners has been a major hit for Warner Bros.
Mm-hmm.
Opening weekend in North America was $48 million.
Which is really strong for an original R-rated horror, right? Not based on anything pre-existing.
Exactly. Best opening for an original script since 2019, apparently. That means, not a sequel, not a comic book, none of that. Makes the number even more impressive for you listening.
But horror can drop off fast. Did it hold?
That's the amazing part. The second weekend drop was tiny, like 4.9%. Almost unheard of for a big opening like that.
Wow. That means people were telling their friends. Good word of mouth.
Definitely. Strong word of mouth. Repeat viewings, probably.
Right.
It crossed $123 million domestic in just 10 days. Latest numbers are around $180 million domestic, over $237 million worldwide.
And the budget was?
Estimated around $90–100 million. So, yeah, it's well into profit territory.
Clearly. Any projections for where it might end up?
Some are saying maybe $230–250 million domestic final. Could even push past $400 million globally. It also broke a record highest-grossing R-rated film ever released in April. Beaten Decent Proposal, Flashdance after just 10 days.
That's genuinely massive. What about internationally? Sometimes black-led films face hurdles overseas.
The international take started solid, around $39 million after 10 days. But honestly, the domestic numbers are so strong, it looks like it could be profitable just from North America alone, which kind of bucks some of those expectations, yeah.
So it's clearly resonating beyond just being a well-made genre film. Let's dig into those themes again. The vampirism isn't just literal vampires.
Doesn't seem like it, no. It feels loaded with metaphor. People are reading it as cultural appropriation, maybe the consuming power of racism itself.
Or like a dangerous escape, Remick offering immortality, freedom from racism.
Exactly, that temptation, that dangerous allure, it adds layers.
And the Jim Crow setting is crucial to that. It's not just atmosphere.
Absolutely not. The film seems to be directly confronting the brutal history, using horror conventions to talk about racial terror, the KKK, systemic evil.
I saw a quote calling it a documentary disguised as horror.
Yeah, that captures how it works allegorically, using the genre to reflect on Black American history and trauma.
And the music, the blues, more than just a soundtrack.
Way more. Gernson's score is key, but Miles Caton's performances as Sammy seem absolutely central. The film gives music this almost supernatural quality. Like, Sammy's playing literally summoned spirits. It attracts Remick, so the music is tied directly into the supernatural plot.
Like Robert Johnson at the Crossroads kind of vibe.
Exactly. It taps into that folklore. Music is this powerful channel for culture, spirituality, but maybe danger too.
Which feels very Coogler. That focus on cultural specifics, putting Black characters and perspectives front and center.
It's consistent with his work, yes. And the fact that a major studio film doing that in the horror genre is such a hit, that's significant.
And sounds like it emphasizes community, too, against these threats.
Yeah, it seems to highlight community unity, while making it clear that the Klan's hatred, that genocidal impulse, is maybe the most monstrous thing in the film, the ultimate evil.
So Sinners feels like counter-programming in today's Hollywood.
It really does. Original R-rated Black-led horror doing this well. When everything feels like IP and sequels, it stands out.
Maybe a sign people want original ideas.
Some are definitely hoping so, calling it a potential final stand for original ideas. And that Oscar buzz, challenging genre bias, it's all part of the narrative around it.
Let's quickly cover the release details. It came out April 18th here in the U.S., a bit earlier elsewhere.
Correct. And it was pushed back from March, swapped with Mickey 17. Seems like the IMAX film post-production needed extra time. Those specialized labs,
And they really leaned into the IMAX presentation.
Oh, yeah. Shot on IMAX film. Big IMAX release. And the demand was so high, they're doing a special IMAX 70mm re-release starting May 15th.
Even after its initial run. That's pretty rare.
Very rare. It shows the studio sees it as a real cinematic event, something you have to see on the biggest screen possible. And runtime is 2 hours, 17 minutes. Rated R for, well, strong, bloody violence, sex, language, expected stuff.
Okay, well, this has been really thorough. Sinners clearly isn't just your average horror flick.
Not at all. It's firing on all cylinders, really. Critical acclaim, audience love, box office success, that awards chatter.
It definitely cements that Coogler-Jordan partnership again and shows Coogler nailing original storytelling for a massive audience.
Absolutely. And those themes we talked about, history, racism, music, what monstrosity even means, to give it real weight.
So its legacy seems pretty multifaceted already.
I think so. It's a benchmark for 2025, a win for original films, another peak for Coogler, and just proof that these ambitious, specific genre stories can connect big time.
So here's something to chew on as you think about all this. Is the success of Sinners, maybe, just maybe, a sign of a real shift in Hollywood? Or does its power come from tapping into something deeper, something about the kinds of evil that still haunt us, both real and imagined? What part of this deep dive stuck with you the most, and why do you think a film mixing all these things, horror, history, music, could hit so hard? Definitely something to consider. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of Movie Deep Dive, a featured show on the Binge Radio Network. If you enjoyed the content, be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss an episode. This episode was created with the help of AI tools for research, narration, and production, keeping things smart, fast, and always binge-worthy. Until next time, keep binging.